Oh, yes, go Milo. All right. So this is a video about new organ, um, and how it relates to our bodies and our current understanding. So it's essentially new information meets ancient understandings is what this video is going to be about. The new organ, supposedly new, is the interstitium. It's found underneath the skin, and it says the scientists discovered a new organ which consists of fluid filled spaces in the body's connective tissue, including the skin dermis, which is shown as the light pink layer at the bottom of the image. It'll be right down here. Right? And so these fluid-filled spaces were discovered in connective tissue all over the body, including below the skin surface, lining the digestive tract, lungs, urinary system, surrounding muscles, according to the new study detailing the findings published today, March 27th, in the Journal of Scientific Reports. So basically in the body, it's saying it consists of all these glands, your glands and organs in your body, and connects all that stuff. Previously, researchers had thought these tissue layers were a dense wall of collagen, a strong structural protein and connectors. So that's just basically making excuses why they didn't understand or claim they didn't know that it was actually there. All right. The researchers are calling this fluid network of fluid-filled spaces an organ, the interstitium. However, this is an unofficial distinction for the body part. To officially become an organ, a consensus would need to develop around the idea, more researchers say. An image of the interstitium beneath the top layer of skin. Researchers say that the organ is a body-wide network of interconnected fluid-filled spaces supported by a lattice of strong, flexible proteins. Official designation aside, the findings may have implications for a variety of medicines, including cancer research. Thies said, for example, the findings appear to explain why cancer tumors that invade this layer of tissue can spread to the lymph nodes. According to the researchers, this occurs because these fluid-filled spaces are called lymph and drain into the lymphatic system. Lymph is a fluid that contains infection-fighting white blood cells. All right, and so that is essentially saying that it is connected to the glandular system, the lymph system. And when you look at Eastern traditions, they say that your glandular system is your etheric system, your etheric body, right? And that'd be your parasympathetic nervous system, and that would include like the nerve ganglia, you know, that would be overlaid from the medical system into the chakra system of the Eastern understandings. So you got the sympathetic plexus, the pulmonary plexus, cardiac plexus, splenic plexus, right? And so this one, I like how it describes them in the nerve ganglia. You know, so the seventh chakra would be the cerebral cortex, the sixth would be the carotid plexus, the pharyngeal plexus, pulmonary, cardiac, solar, sacral, and coccygeal, right? And so, like I said, those again coincide with the seven chakras, right? So you got your the parasympathetic nervous system. The top one is related to your eyes and pupils, salivation, bronchial and heart, digestive, pancreas, gallbladder, urinary, bladder, and genitals, right? So all these things are connected, and it coincides again with what they said in the past. One of the main differences that we have now is that it brings into the understanding of what this fluid is. You know, this lymph fluid, and this thing here doesn't really go into it as much, but they're saying that this part of this fluid in there, and part of the reason that it was hard to find wasn't just because of the way that it was, the way they render images for slides with the drying of it or dyeing of it and chemicalizing it or whatever, but that it doesn't act like a natural fluid, like a traditional fluid, and so they're going into some of the fifth state of matter, right? And it says we are familiarized with the four states of matter acknowledged so far: solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Who would have imagined a fifth state of matter containing simultaneously two states, right? Two states of matter. right? And that would be superfluid and crystalline, right? So kind of like when you talk about the brain, they say that it's an oscillating liquid crystal antenna, sending and receiving information. Within the diversity of crystallization forms or phases of water, form liquid to solid ice, more than 17 crystalline and several amorphous structure. New one has appeared, ionic oxygen crystal with ionic hydrogen and moving aside like a fluid. All right. And so the new model, in this paper we present a new model of ether according to which it is regarded as superfluid. And so basically what they're saying is that they're going to change the name for just because they want to, I guess. I mean, it's just to make it so it fits into their description of what that they want to go with relativity, Einstein's relativity, rather than the so-called phased out etheric understanding. But like we're saying, what we're finding as we go further into all this stuff, the more things that become available, like this new organ, supposedly found organ, the interstitium, that is related to our ether body, and that the fluid inside of here acts differently than regular fluid. And then they talk about the fifth state being in two forms at once, right? And that's going with the ether. So ether is, they're saying, has zero viscosity, so it acts like a solid and a fluid at the same time, and a superfluid. So within it, there's zero viscosity, and so the stuff moves indefinitely without impedance. Okay, right? So this is Gerald Clark's video, The Human Antenna, Energy and Consciousness with Gerald Clark. Awakening is the shift in consciousness where thinking and awareness separate. Meditation is the dissolution of thoughts, internal awareness, or pure consciousness without objectification, knowing without thinking, merging finitude with infinity. All right, and so I like this video that Gerald did. And what it is he goes very detailed into what the human body is as far as an antenna sending and receiving information, the effect of your physical body inside of these different energy fields, gravity, anything in nature that has to do with the balancing of your physicality, right? In here, let me see. Right, energy, spirit, and consciousness related. So when we're talking about, again, these things that they're calling new organs coming out and relating them to the old understandings, right? So they tend to discount, these chakra systems. There's still people out there that don't necessarily believe in these things or understand, or maybe even just don't even really think about it. But the medical system, like I said, they use terminology in medical system and regular terminology that separate and distinguish the two, even though they may be related. And I think of like homeostasis and equilibrium, right? Outside of the body, equilibrium is balance. Inside of the body is homeostasis. They mean the same thing, it's just one's internal and one's external. Just like when you think about the minerals, iron, calcium, magnesium, zinc, outside of the body those are called metals, right? Inside the body they're called minerals, but they're in their bioavailable form. So there is a differentiation that should be there. But the idea that kind of reminds me of how they say, like, they fortify cereal with iron and then they just put little metal shavings in there. Well, that's not a bioavailable version of iron or any of those things are. So they have to go an introduction to the interstitium, the new organs, and so like I said, the information that's coming out now that doesn't coincide with relativistic understanding. That goes back to an etheric understanding where we have these energies that are throughout our systems, and it reminds me, like I said, the takushkashka, or ether, the energy that is in, through, and around everything that pervades it, but is also the intelligence of the universe, right? And our connection to that, to have different types of bodies, our energy, our spirit body, our ether body, and our physical body, and how they relate to each other, and being able to recognize those old teachings in the information we have today, so that we can try to weasel out some of the truth that's in there. You know, as far as being able to heal ourselves, being able to move forward, even in, like I said, getting back into farming, gardening. These energy bodies are how the plants see us. You know, when you think about a plant, their cells in there are no different than our nervous system, right? They just don't have the physical body encompassing that or encapsulating that like we do on ours. You know, so but everything else that is present in the human body, chemical wise, structure wise, everything is analogous to the plants. And so when we have plants that modify themselves around us, around our emotional systems, you know, with some of the studies that they were talking about, these are these are how they have access to those informations, you know. So again, real quick, this was just an introduction to that interstitium. So it's supposedly a new organ, you know. I don't necessarily believe that it's really that new as far as understanding, because all of these things have been described in old texts. They just didn't have the scientific terminology to attach to it. So, all right. Again, I appreciate your time. Both of us.